This video from Rick Kakis is top trending in the Destiny 2 category. It's titled Destiny 2 Will Die If Bungie Doesn't Fix This Soon. Let's see what we're cooking up here.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today I'm looking a bit disheveled, a little bit greasy, you know, but I had to make this video because we have got to talk about one of the biggest complaints within the Destiny 2 community right now, one of the biggest problems with the new Edge of Fate expansion, and it's the leveling system. Oh my goodness, guys. The leveling system right now is terrible, and it is going to kill the game. Guys, I've been streaming a ton of Destiny 2, twitch.tv/KakisHD, but in all seriousness, people come in, the number one complaint I see is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to level. Oh my goodness, I'm so burnt out. Oh my goodness, I just did the Solo Ops Caldera for 10 hours for marginal gains. Like,
He's right. The leveling system is extremely overtuned. Bungie wanted to give us a super hardcore grind, and I guess they achieved that much, at least, right? It's crazy. The grind is a bit much, but what I think Bungie's goal is to make the grind maybe too much at the start of a new saga, and then tune it down as time goes on, because how much worse would it have felt if the amount of grinding felt right, and then they turned it up a notch randomly, right? You might as well go a little too far and then dial it back, because basically it's like you create the problem and then you fix the problem that you created, and then everyone praises you, right? This is a smart psychological pattern we have here.
what are we doing here, dude? And the reason I'm making this video right now, the reason I just turn on the camera right now and I gotta rant to you guys, that's what I gotta do. I mean, like, look, if we look at my character right now, I'm 282 power. I don't know if I have all my literal highest stuff on right now, but that's not great. Why? I've been doing a ton of raid stuff. Like, I just put out a video a couple days ago. We have been doing a ton of stuff in the raid with the new feat system. We're now able to consistently have the possibility to get tier 4 raid loot. That system is kind of awesome. That system is very determined by what you do. Hey, if you do this, that, and the other thing, you know, you have a check of, well, you actually have a triumph of like, do this, do that, do that. You know, now you can influence.
That system is also flawed in my opinion, because as it stands right now, like you said, you could get tier 4 raid loot, but you can't get tier 5 yet. So we literally have to wait several months to get tier 5 rolls of the weapons and armor in the new raid, which is a little bit lame in my opinion, but I digress.
Drops and all that stuff. But now that I'm done with that, it's like, what is there to do? What is there to do? Level. That's what there is. That's what it feels like there is, because there's actually a lot to do. If I go to the Kepler destination map, I've ignored like every single one of these extra quests, right? Of these side quests. I just haven't done them. Why? Why would I? You know? Why would I do something that's going to give me low tier loot? Even on mythic difficulty. You're not getting much from those. I actually did the entire mythic difficulty quest on Kepler.
And the reason why people are doing them, though, it's like, I believe they're tied into like the story, and they give you interesting little lore bits. You know, not everyone's necessarily cares about that, but I think that's part of the reason why some would do that. Now, for Rick and for a lot of people, you know, we care mostly about power fantasy. Like, we want our characters to be as powerful as possible. So we want that tier 4, that tier 5 armor, those tier 4, those tier 5 weapons. And so, of course, if you're so interested in power fantasy, then you're going to focus on getting the most powerful weapons and armor, which is power leveling. And power leveling is held behind this like insane grind inside the portal between solo ops, pinnacle ops, fireteam ops, you name it. You got to grind all these activities for hours and hours and hours just to get up to max power, just so you can then unlock the RNG chance of getting a tier 5 drop.
It gave me nothing. Like, no, sorry. Gave me, I think I have it right here. This, a predetermined tier 5. So I don't even get the 3 perk slots. I got 1 perk slot. But that's all Bungie could have given me for like 6 hours worth of grinding the mythic thing. So if I want tier 5, so I want high tier loot, and kudos to Bungie, I do want high tier loot. Like, they have done actually a pretty good job of making this high tier loot desirable, right?
They've made the carrot at the end of the stick worth the grind in some ways, unless the grind is too much. We'll see what it's like long term.
Actually genuinely want it. It makes quite a difference with my builds, with my characters. It's very noticeably better than lower tier loot. I want it, right? And in a looter, that's what you want. But the way to get it is that, like I said, I'm 282. I have to go to Pinnacle, and I have to play Star-Crossed until my eyes bleed. Or, to be honest, today, Kel's fault, because there's a chance for a bonus Mint Retrograde. I actually put out a video yesterday on how good the Mint Retrograde is. You know, if you take anything away from this video, aside from the rant, if you're still playing, you probably should play this. It's a really good chance to farm this. But like, seriously, I have to go into Kel's Fall, and I have to grind it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And like, that's the leveling experience. Now, I have
To be fair, you could play a variety of other activities. It wouldn't be as optimized. Bungie has set it up so that you can play Pinnacle, Fireteam, Solo, and Crucible. So there's the whole variety of Destiny. What Destiny offers is available in there, minus dungeons and minus raids. So they tried their best. And even when you go into those activities, there's variants of enemies, there's variants of modifiers, there's variants of goals. So they try to make it so that way the monotonous grind isn't as bad. But people, you know, wanting to get up to max power as fast as possible don't really care. They're just going to grind whatever is the most optimized way. And so it's kind of a push-pull, like a love-hate situation there. Like you either really want to grind and don't care about doing the same activity 1,000 times, or you want to kind of enjoy the grind, take a little bit slower, and get to play all the different activities and experience all the different changes that Bungie has made, because they have actually changed quite a bit. When you go and look at those solo ops missions and all the different variants within them, it's interesting, you know? It's interesting to see the different enemies and the different modifiers and stuff like that. I think that a lot of people are kind of missing some of the work that Bungie did put into the Edge of Fate with that. It's not to give Bungie a ton of credit necessarily, because it still is old missions, but the reworks do actually add enough that it should feel a little more fresh than just doing the same old mission from however many years ago.
to say, I understand why Bungie changed this. Let's be honest, like let's be for real here, guys. The leveling system has been one of the biggest complaints in Destiny 2 for years. Like, how many times have you guys seen people say, oh my goodness, I hate the weekly lockout system. Why am I only able to get gains for my level, and then I have to wait an entire week before I can make serious gains in terms of my level again, right? Why is there certain things locked behind certain activities? I don't want to play Gambit, so why is there a powerful drop locked behind Gambit, right? Like, again, these are complaints that have been aired by the community for years.
And Bungie technically addressed and fixed those, or at least created a whole new system, right? Like, now you don't have to play Gambit, which is great. I didn't play it anyways. Even if I needed that Pinnacle drop, I didn't play Gambit. So now you don't have to play Gambit, and you're not weekly capped out. You don't have to wait for the weekly reset every single Tuesday. So they kind of fixed those two big problems, but in the process, they created a little bit more of a higher mountain to climb, right?
So the idea, the concept of slow but constant progression, you know, if you're doing solo, if you're doing Fireteam, Pinnacle, Crucible, you can sit there in Crucible the entire time and you will make slow and constant progression. You're always gaining progress. But man, that slow factor, that slow word, Bungie is taking this way too far, dude, way too far. Again, I will sit there and I will do Pinnacle Ops. I have done Star-Crossed for like hours in a row, and it just sucks. Like, the way you actually level up is not, I think, what Bungie envisioned. You have this system.
I think it actually is exactly what they envisioned, and I think they might tune it back a little bit, because they did just adjust the power difficulty for the raid. Like, they just brought it back by 10. And the reason why I think it's what they envisioned is because it's meant to be a 6-month cycle, and obviously you're not going to wait all 6 months and just hit power level 400 like the day before Renegades drops, right? Like, that's not really the design. But the idea is that because you have 6 full months before they reset you back down to 200, you know, it's not meant to be as fast as we used to do it, basically. We used to have people, you know, I'll reference someone, the legend Grenader Jake. This guy would get online, play for like 36 hours straight, and like hit max power like right off the bat every Tuesday at reset when the new expansion came out, right? Like, this guy is grinding for power, or he'd get it done at the next Tuesday reset, right? And so we used to be able to just hit that max power cap so fast that we got kind of used to that, and we're all creatures of habit, right? So we got really used to that, but this is a whole new era of Destiny, and we're just not used to the new habit yet. We're not used to like, oh, I can't just have what I want immediately, right? Like, we used to be like, man, if I have to grind for something, I'll go for 48 hours straight. Like, we're like crazy Destiny players, right? People will just invest unhealthy amounts of time into this game to achieve whatever goals they need. But now it's like they set the bar so far away that it's like if you want to get there, you can get there. I mean, there's already a handful of people that are there. We're 2 weeks in. Let me show how many are here, actually. Let's see. Yeah, we're 2 weeks in now. We're technically 15 days into the expansion, and we've got Ghost Sniper, Defizzle, Silos, and Massa. We have 4 people that have achieved maximum power, 450. So it took them about 2 weeks. And these guys are nonstop grinders. I mean, these guys probably smell terrible. Like they have just been sitting in their own sweat and Doritos soaked clothes, you know, just bathing in Mountain Dew. And, you know, you can just imagine how sticky their desks are, right? These guys have been grinding nonstop. And 2 weeks in, they've achieved max power. It's never been that much of a grind before. Now for you, the person that has, you know, 7 kids and 4 jobs, it's going to take you a little bit longer. It's going to take you like 3-4 months to hit max power, maybe at a much more casual pace. And is that okay? Is that the right route? I think Bungie's experimenting. You know, we're beta testing it right now.
System where if I go into Fireteam here, I look, oh, hey, Quick Play Master, I get a bonus drop and I actually get a guaranteed bow if I get a B grade. That's really cool. Let's see. Oh, I have 2 bonus drops from the Devil's Lair. But for a lot of these activities, man, like, it's not even worth it with the bonus drops. Like, some of these activities take so much longer than others. Like, okay, Widow's Court, 30 to 35 minutes, and I get 3 completion rewards and 1 bonus drop. So 4 rewards total. Bro, I can literally do 3 Star-Crossed in the same time, and that has just 2 completion rewards per run. There's 6 drops. I'm getting more drops for just mindless. So every single person is just going in here and doing solo ops Caldera, because that's just the fastest one, or they're doing, again, Pinnacle op.
So you have to be careful what you ask for when you bring up videos like these, though, because the reason why is right now you can just play the same activity mindlessly and optimize it, right? Like you learn the exact spawn of all the enemies, you learn the exact areas that you can like run past, right? And you can just repeat the same activity quickly. And so that's what people are doing. If you say to yourself that, well, why do I have to just do the same activity over and over again? Well, imagine when Bungie locks you out of it. Imagine when you can only do the same activity 3 times, you know, with an update. And then you're rotated into the slower activities. You know, we don't want that by any means. But I think what Bungie should do alternatively is highly incentivize the other activities. So that way, every time you complete a Caldera, you get another bonus drop on a different solo op. And you complete Caldera again and again and again, and you keep adding bonus drops on the other stuff. So that way, eventually you have like 5 or 10 bonus drops when you do that slow Widow's Court mission. So now you're like, okay, the Widow's Court mission, like he said, right, is so much slower than Star-Crossed, but I get 10 bonus drops. I'm going to go do it now. You know what I'm saying? It's going to feel painful to have to do that slow mission. But if you incentivize people to play a variety, then they'll feel more rewarded. And that's what I think Bungie will do. I think that they're going to lower the grind in general, like make the drops a little bit higher. Like everything that's currently a +3 will be a +4. I think they'll probably do that. So that way the grind, instead of it being like 90, 100 hours, whatever it is, it'll be like less than that, maybe 10%, 20% less. And then also incentivize playing a variety of activities. That would make the system significantly better.
Probably Star-Crossed at the time. Why? Because it's just like, it's boiled down to the best way to level up is just do the most mindlessly, slightly more efficient activity over and over and over and over and over again. There's no variety. Like, why? Bungie has this system that's supposed to encourage me to go and do something else. Let's actually make something worthwhile here. And also, why do the bonus drops go away after 1 single run? So like, okay, maybe it's worth it for me to stop grinding Star-Cross for 15 minutes and go and do this Devil's Lair because I get 3 drops. Cool. And then I do it and I go right back to Star-Crossed. Like, why don't we have, you know what would help so much? Why don't we have double drops for certain things every day? So, hey, one day, solo ops has double drops. Now you're grinding solo ops, okay? Next day, Fireteam Ops has double drops. Now it's way more worth it to grind Fireteam Ops. Next day, Pinnacle Ops. Next day, Crucible, right? Like, at least with that system, you'd actually have people varying up the activities they're doing. But like, the way the leveling system is now, again, it's so slow. the progress you're getting is so slow, and the sheer amount of levels you need to ascend is so high, dude. I'm looking at, again, another, like...
I mean, to be fair, you're 282, right? And you might even be higher. This may not be all of your gear infused up. Actually, I think you're 282 then. So you're 282, and we're 2 weeks in. So that means you're guaranteed getting tier 2 drops and occasionally getting tier 3 drops. So you're getting really good variants of armor and weapons in just 2 weeks. Like, if you look at it from the positive side, like, you're already getting tier 3 drops of weapons, you know? Like, that's pretty good in 2 weeks. I mean, you obviously you're a content creator and you're grinding probably more than the average Joe with, 7 jobs and 14 kids, right? But that's not too bad. And obviously you're going to continue to grind, and in another 2 weeks, presumably you're going to be like probably upper 300s, maybe closer to 400, right? And so at that stage, you'll be getting guaranteed tier 3 and then tier 4 drops. So that seems, I mean, it does seem like a pretty hefty grind, and some people like that hardcoreness of it. Like, it kind of is reminiscent of D1, right? I'm going to evoke the days of D1 back on you here. To any of the OG veterans out there, you know what I'm talking about. We used to have to go around Mars, and we had to run a loop farming relic iron for hours, all right? Only the OGs will understand, okay? You Destiny 2 players, you'll never understand what it was really like to have a grind, all right? We used to run in loops in Mars endlessly for hours just to farm relic iron. And why did we do that? So that we could upgrade one node on our weapon, because our weapons didn't actually come fully upgraded. You would get random rolls of weapons, and then you'd have to upgrade them with these really rare materials. And it was super hardcore and super challenging. And Destiny 2 Edge of Fate is, whether you like it or not, it's reminiscent of that sort of hardcore nature in the game. It's that D1, it's that OG D1 feel that a lot of people actually like. Some people are kind of like, meh, I ain't about that. And the nice part for you is that if you're like, I ain't about that life, you could still play Destiny 2 the same. You can play Destiny 2 at the exact same casual pace. The only difference is that you're going to get tier 1 weapons and tier 1 god rolls, and other people will get tier 2s and tier 3s and tier 4s and tier 5s. And the difference is so marginal that you shouldn't care. Really, you shouldn't care that much. It won't matter, because you're just trying to play for a casual, fun experience. You're just trying to go around clearing the damn salt mines because it's fun. You're just going around clearing some exotic missions because it's interesting. You're just going into Crucible and jumping around and trying to go flawless because it's cool for you. You like throwing Nova Bombs. Enjoy your Nova Bomb throwing. And understand that for you, there's a game that is casual called Destiny 2. And for the hardcore players, there's also a game called Destiny 2. And we can all exist in the same ecosystem with this new system. Is it perfect, though? Hell no. It definitely needs some tweaking. But it's interesting. It's an interesting, good system. I actually think that there's a lot of validity to the new system. It does need some tweaking, though.
150 or more levels. I got to go all the way up to 282, all the way up to 382, all the way up to 450. So yeah, like almost 150 levels or whatever the heck it is, just to get to the new cap. Oh, except not really actually. Hold on, guys, because all these complaints, I'm having such a I'm so bored right now already of Starcrossed, and I'm doing the easy part of leveling. That's right, guys. Once you get to 400, the slow and constant progression stops. And as you can see, now you have like a 5% chance to get something that's barely better. So, hold on. Hold on. We've got the most boring leveling system, the most soul-sucking, the most grind one activity leveling system in the game right now, and the only thing you have to look forward to is that when you reach 400, it gets worse. You're already bored. You're already sick of doing the same activity over and over again, and when you get to 400, it gets even worse. Okay. Now, in fairness, Bungie did warn us. They literally told us about this in a TWAB, and I just think that there's so much that happened at the Edge of Fate. There's so many changes to the systems.
As a quick note on that topic, one thing, my biggest criticism of the new portal system and the new power leveling system is just that there's no new activities in there. Like, they did revamp other old stuff, which was excellent. Actually, it's actually really excellent. But I really wish that they had sprinkled in at least like a half a dozen new stuff. If they could have just sprinkled in a half a dozen new missions, that would have really helped this a lot. I know it's asking a lot. Maybe we had a bunch of layoffs. We're working with a smaller team here. The new system is still, it's a lot of changes to an old ecosystem. And maybe they're just kind of testing the waters to see how people are feeling with it. If they had done that, I think people would be a lot more happier, because imagine you're grinding in this activity and you have to grind a new exotic mission, one that you haven't played before, or maybe a new fire team op or a new solo op. That would feel a little more fresh, I guess.
That people just kind of got overwhelmed and they may have overlooked this. And conceptually, I see what Bungie's doing. Do you need to get to 450? No. Like, you really don't, honestly, guys. Once you get high 300s, 400s, you're starting to get those tier 4s and even dipping into the tier 5s enough that, like, everything else is just kind of gravy. You don't really need that. And so maybe part of this is just that we as players need to adjust our expectations. Like, we're used to...
Yes, thank you. Now we're reasoning here.
Getting to the cap so easily because leveling was basically meaningless. Now, leveling means a lot, arguably too much, and so we're like, oh, well, obviously I need to get to the cap, and getting to the cap is a slog. And I just think that right now, it's just too harsh. This leveling system, again, conceptually and honestly in practice initially, it really isn't that bad in the slow constant progression, maybe picking some different things. You also have, like, I love...
I feel like we're experiencing the 5 stages of grief here. Like, the 5 stages of grief, we had like denial, like bargaining and anger, depression, and we're working towards the acceptance now.
The featured gear system. I love the fact that, wait, I can go and farm the Ahab Char, which has a really sick roll, heal clip plus incan on a rapid fire auto. Like, that's sick, dude. And I actually have some deterministic qualities to this, because I can go and farm this over and over again. I get it the first time, and then after that, it's a chance, but it's a pretty high chance. And so, like, I can farm. We mentioned the Mint Retrograde. I actually like that system, where it's like, hey, I want to go and farm the Mint Retrograde right now. It's dropping from this activity. This is the time to do it, right?
And that pulse is incredible too. So it's like, it's actually awesome that you can focus farm for the exact weapon that you want and then potentially get the god roll. And then it's also tied to how much you've played. So if you played like a lot, and you're like high 300s, you might get a tier 4, maybe even a tier 5 god roll. And if you haven't played very much, guess what? You still get a tier 1 god roll. It's still going to be incredible for you. It's going to really help you clear the raid or any challenging activities that you do. It's still going to be awesome. It's just not quite as shiny, right?
And again, I like the concept of everything I am doing gives me progress. It's just that the numbers are off, guys. I honestly think that's the biggest...
Not only does everything you do give you progress, it also, you have the agency to focus farm for the exact weapons you need, the exact armor piece. Like before, previously, do you remember when you would farm and you're like, all I need is a class item. My class item is like a -10. And you're like, I would level up so much faster if I could get a class item drop. Well, now you can focus farm for the exact activity. It gives you the agency to decide, okay, this activity drops a class item, so I'm going to do this activity now. Now, it might be more of a slog doing that activity. That might be the slower activity, but it will give you the exact item that you desire. It's like the agency is there, the transparency is there. So much better of a grind in that regard. But is the grind to go from the bottom to the top too many hours? Is it too many hours? That's what the Destiny 2 community is deciding right now. And that's what the feedback that we're trying to give Bungie is.
This thing, the numbers are off. The progress is just too slow. And because it's too slow, it means that, since it's going to take me like dozens of hours to level up. Again, like I said, I'm 282. If I want to get into 100 light levels, I'm going to have to sit here and farm all day. And it's like, it doesn't feel fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to farm Starcrossed over and over and over again for like 12 hours. That's not a good experience. And
I'm going to say it again, so don't do it then. Literally don't do it. Play the other missions. Honestly, play the other missions. Have some fun with them. They may not be as optimized, but some of them are still pretty optimal. Like, just because you're saving a minute or so each clear, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to do that. Like, you can definitely do some other stuff. Like, if you're really not having fun, just don't do it then. Just don't play Starcrossed. I feel like we've created this system where we're like, I must do the most optimal thing, even if I am miserable the whole entire time. It's like they created a system where you have some variety, but at least you have the option. If you really want to make yourself suffer for optimization, you can do that, but you can also allow yourself to play variety and be a little less optimal. It's not that far off. Let's be real here. If you do the numbers, if you crunch the numbers, it's not that far off. And if it makes the grind less monotonous, do that.
That, like, because it's such slow progression, because like the numbers I have to send are so high, it's like I said, Starcrossed might be, 5%, but it might save me 30 seconds off of something else. But because I need to farm it for 12 hours, because I need so many drops, those 30 seconds per run make such a big difference. And so that's why all this whole system with the bonus drops and all that stuff, while good intentioned, while actually very good in concept, now it's just boiled down to mindless farming the thing that gives you 5 seconds faster, 10 seconds faster per run, because it adds up, because I need so many drops.
All right, I'm going to pause it here. This is going to be the most harsh thing I'm going to say in this entire video, which is that the loot that you're grinding for, Rick, is just not as important as you are placing the value on it, all right? If you really need tier 5 armor and tier 5 weapons, that's not necessary for anything but clearing contests. And I believe Rick and his team, they just quit contests. They didn't even clear the contest of the new raid. So I don't think that they even care that much. Like, Rick is mostly he's a man about content. He makes incredible guides. Like, that's his whole shtick, you know? Like, he's not trying to be the Salta Greppo, right? He's not trying to get world's first, right? So you don't need those tier 5s. You don't have to have them. Like, it's not a necessity. Like, if you're not even going to try and clear contest raids, you sure as hell do not need tier 5s. You might really want them because it makes you more powerful, and that power fantasy is really fun in Destiny 2. Don't get me wrong. Even if you're not doing contest stuff, it's still really fun, but you don't need it as bad as you are claiming you need it, right? Like, it's not a necessity to clear the raid right now in normal mode. You don't need tier 5 weapons. All you need is a damn Thunderlord, right? Actually, all you need right now is a damn Outbreak Perfected. You can clear the damn raid easily. So this necessity for Destiny players to have the very best, again, this is just a habit that we created where we used to say, do you have the 5 out of 5 God roll? No? Oh, 4 out of 5? Oh, you better get back in there and get back to grinding more, Grandmaster Corrupted, right? It's not a necessity. It's nice, don't get me wrong. And it's there for people that really want to be deranged and grind like no one's business, right? The unemployed out there. But it's not a necessity.
If the leveling system had been halved, if instead of getting to 450, not even halved, instead of getting to 450, you only need to get to 350 or something like that, I think that people would be way more accepting. I think that if instead of giving you only a few extra light for the drops, if you could get like plus 10 light increases or something like that, really noticeable stuff. Again, my idea I talked about earlier in the video where it's double drops for Fireteam Ops today or double drops for Pinnacle Ops today, like, it would be a lot more reasonable. But like, as it is right now, and again, especially the fact that,
if I had to guess too, what Bungie's going to do is, they do this with a lot of things, is they're going to reverse scale it as time goes on throughout this season. So right now at the beginning, it's going to be like the most brutal and difficult it is. But as time goes on, it's going to scale and make it significantly easier to get to that power cap as we get to, 3 months until Renegades, 2 months until Renegades. I imagine there's going to be some loosening up of those power drops, making it much easier to hit that power cap. So that way everyone before Renegades feels like they got there, like they grinded enough and they landed at the max power cap. And then when Renegade starts, they're going to reset us back down to 200, which I'm still very skeptical about whether or not I'm going to feel good about getting reset back down to 200. I'm feeling like I'm probably not at this stage, but we'll see. Only time will tell when we actually cross that road. But as it stands right now, I think that's probably their game plan in the long run.
The bonus drops go away after one single run. It just forces you, it just pigeonholes you into like whatever the technically barely most efficient activity is, and it is just burning people out every day. Dude, it's burning me out. I don't want to do it. I don't want to farm any more Starcrossed. I'm bored of it already. Like, it's so annoying, man. I've been trying to like switch up builds and test different builds. All these like build prototypes, all the gameplay is just Starcrossed. It's so annoying. And Bungie needs to change. Like, you are losing people by the day. You are losing people by the day because of this system. In the future, when more stuff is added, when more activities are added to the portal, Bungie's already talked about there should be more activities added to the portal. It's going to be a lot better. I mean, like, because you can now mix things up. But I mean, or is it, dude? I say that, you know, it's like, yeah.
What the heck? He's like, it's gonna be a lot better when they add the dungeon, or is it? He just goes back on it immediately. It's so funny.
You know what? With more activities, that would be cool. That would be cool if there's, you know, they re-enable Encore and there's more activities in Pinnacle Ops and just these 3 and stuff like that. But then I think about it, I'm like, no, they could add 20 more new Pinnacle Ops. The way the leveling system is, we're just going to do the most efficient one. Whatever one saves us 10 seconds is the one we do over and over and over and over and over and over again till our eyes bleed.
For me, I'd actually do the new mission, even if it was a little slower. If there was a brand new exotic mission, I for sure am doing that one. That'd be way more fun than grinding a years old mission.
And I get Bungie like knew this, which that's why they have this like drop system. That's why they have this like, hey, I am encouraging you to go and play Liminality right now because you get extra bonus drops. But it's just not enough. It needs to be like 5 bonus drops. And maybe they go down. If you have 4 bonus drops for something, it should be go down like per 1 each time you do it. So you're farming it for more than just one single time before going back to Starcrossed. So Bungie needs to get on this. And honestly, I think it's as simple as adjusting the numbers. Much more generous with the loot drops, or much more generous with how much bonus light you're getting from these drops, or just reducing the overall like level. Because the other fact, the thing looming, all right, the monster under the bed, frankly, is just the fact that we go back to 200 with Renegades, and we have to do all this BS all over again. And It's like, dude, I'm already bored. I don't want to level anymore.
To be fair, that's meant to be 6 months from now.
It's so boring. And then it's like, I finally get there, I do it, and we lose it all. We have to go back. I think they just need to be significantly more generous with this leveling system. You know, okay, then we get tier 5s easier. If that's really such a problem, I would rather have tier 5s be a bit rarer, like they don't drop as consistently, if I can get up to have the possibility for them to drop sooner. I just want to feel like I can level up, I get the leveling done, and I don't care if it takes me, you know, multiple days of hard grinding, you know, but right now it's just way too much. But then I want to get to the point where I can...
The problem is, though, is that if you got what you wanted right now, you would level up so fast, and then you'd have this feeling of like, okay, Bungie, I leveled up, now there's nothing to do, right? There's the problem, you know, and you can complain on both sides. It's just a dilemma of people just having too much time or really wanting to sink a lot of time into Destiny 2. And right now, there is time to sink in. It's this power grind. And if you achieved all of your power grind significantly faster, you would just be sitting around saying, oh my God, I cannot believe Edge of Fate came out. I'm already max level. I already have all the good weapons. There's nothing to do. And I have to wait for 6 months now, right? Like that would be the narrative. Everyone would be super salty. There's nothing to do. There is something to do, and there is something to do. It's grind your level up, and everyone is choosing to put themselves into the same mission repeatedly to optimize their time. And honestly, it sounds weird because I still think Bungie maybe will bring the bar down a little bit. I think they'll maybe bring the leveling down a little bit, but you're almost like forcing yourself into this miserable position in some ways, because they did at least make the system so you can play other activities. You can, like, you could rotate around, you could play this, you could play that. There's still old activities, so it's like, whatever. Like, I've played Starcrossed, I've played Kelsfall plenty enough. I'm not going to be all that jazzed about the enemies changing a little bit and the modifiers in my solo ops, whatever, you know? But you could rotate a little bit more, but you're kind of forcing it on yourself because you really want to get there as fast as possible. And so what we end up doing a lot of times in general is we're just like sprinting, and we're full sprinting towards finishing this race. And then once we finish the race, we're like, what the hell, you know? And then Bungie's looking at us like, hey, it wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon, you know? It was meant to be like a slow race, it was meant to be like a 6-month thing, you know, or like a long, lengthy grind. But we load in and we just, you know, run straight forward towards our goal. And then we get to that goal and we say, what the fuck, you know, there's nothing to do in this game.
and at least have the possibility for these high tier drops. And right now it feels like I am slogging through hundreds of levels that I don't want to do, and I during this leveling process I don't even have the chance to get like high tier stuff. Like I have to absolutely slog just to finally get into position where I can get the loot I want to get. And
to be fair, Destiny players, we've gone back and forth on this a few times, where you create a meaningful grind for something, which means that when you have something that's super powerful, you have a sense of pride for it. Like, for example, if they give you an exotic, right? There's an exotic quest. Sometimes the exotic quests are like really tough. Like you have to go do some crazy shit. And when you see someone with that exotic, I remember this back in like D1 with like Thorn. When you saw someone with Thorn, you knew that guy went through some shit, all right? That guy completed that Thorn quest. God damn, that man knows suffering, and respect to him for having that Thorn. We've kind of gotten pretty far away from that in Destiny 2 now, but we're kind of reminiscent of some of those D1, you know, hardcore vibes again, back in Edge of Fate now, where now if you see someone with the tier 5 God roll mint retrograde, you know that man suffered. That man went days without showering. That man might not even own deodorant, right? That man is well invested in Doritos and Mountain Dew, Code Red, because a God roll tier 5 mint retrograde means that man suffered his power level all the way up to 450 and then played beyond just to get a tier 5, a chance at that tier 5 God roll. And he finally did. And now you get to inspect him and see and witness what is true power, right?
you know, I maybe again this is Bungie saying, hey, you guys always complained about running out of stuff to do. Well, we're going to give you a lot to do. But the way the leveling system is, like, if it was more varied, if I had a reason to go back and play dungeons, if I had a reason to go back and play other activities, it would be better. But it's just mindlessly farming the same activity over and over again, and it's just killing the desire to play the game for so many people. Bungie, get on this. Change something. I don't care. Again, there's like multiple ways you could come at this. More loot drops. The loot drops give you way bigger light level progression. Double drops, again, like reducing the overall power level cap, making it so that at least when you get to 400, it's not just a 5% chance to get gains. Any of that stuff would be very welcomed right now. And you're going to need to do it quick, though, because there's only so much of this people can do. Like, you know, gaming is super competitive. There's so many awesome games out there, and there's so many awesome games coming out. Borderlands 4, another looter shooter, is coming out in September. Bro, if your choices are mindlessly grind star-crossed still, right, in September, to get leveled up with the new Ash and Iron, where they extend the level cap even more.
They've already announced that in September they're adding dungeons to the portal, but it's a good point still, but yeah.
Or go play a brand new fresh game. Like, what do you think people are going to choose? Anyways.
I mean, people are always going to choose play the brand new fresh game over playing something 11 years old, you know, 11-year-old missions and stuff like that, but
that's the rant. That's the video, guys. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed my rant. If you did, please remember to help me out by rating, especially sharing this video.
All right, there it is. That was the video from Rick Kakis. All right, and now I'm going to give my final conclusion on this topic. I think he did bring up some, you know, valid points. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions. Even if you have a difference of opinion, that's okay. We want to give our opinions in a constructive manner. You know, we're not here to flame anyone for, you know, thinking differently than we do. I do have some issues with it in that, you know, we're just started a new system, so of course it's not going to be perfect. You know, nothing Bungie does is perfect. Most things they do are far from perfect. So the system is going to need some tweaks here and there. It's pretty understood that that's going to happen, right? They're going to tweak it. Maybe they adjust the values of it, and maybe they make it a little more casual. Who knows? I doubt they're going to make it more hardcore, right? That would be ridiculous. I think after all the feedback, that's probably the last thing they do. Could you imagine they make the grind even more hardcore after this? They're like, you know what? You wanted +5 extra drops? How about none? You know? How about you do Star-Crossed and you get 1 drop and it's maybe a +1? You know, like that would be crazy. So I doubt the grind will ever be more than what it is right now. But Destiny 2 is a game, and everyone's going to have a bias towards what they like do and the way they play the game. Sometimes we play a little more hardcore than other times. Rick, you know, he's a family man. You know, he's got other priorities and other things going on in life. You know, he probably wants to play the game a little more casual. I think that's probably his bias. He's just a content creator that wants to, you know, play, make videos, level up, and have fun with his friends overall. And Destiny 2, it's a game that's trying to cater to everyone. The most casual, you know, the people that play just a couple hours a week, to Rick Kakis, probably a guy in the middle in terms of the hardcore scale. to the salted repos that are out there trying to min-max every little thing to the tiniest detail and win world's first rates. Balancing those scales is going to be difficult. I do think that the portal is a good addition. I just wish it had some new activities. And if Bungie does adjust it and make the grind a little bit less, I personally wouldn't be offended too much. But I think a lot of people, a decent amount of people, aren't hating the grind that much because they kind of like there to be something to grind for in Destiny 2. If we all currently achieved max power, like say max power was 300, and we were all sitting at max power, we'd all be sitting around twiddling our thumbs like, what the hell, Bungie? Now what do we do, right? Like, we got nothing else to grind for, or we have significantly less to grind for. So it's kind of a push-pull situation. I don't hate exactly where it's at right now. I imagine Bungie will be adjusting it, though, in some ways. But I'll be reading your feedback down below, as will Bungie, I'm sure, because this is a topic everyone's talking about right now. That's a wrap. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.